All right. All right. Okay, if anyone is on, you guys can make sure, you guys can definitely, if there's something wrong with my presentation. If you guys can hear me, you guys can put in anything in the comments, ask any questions. I'm just going to go through a quick kind of top level how to DIY your website, a couple strategy tips that I often use and that clients of mine, either coaching clients or otherwise have gone through. And it's just simple things that sometimes we don't think about um, that really help us in getting a head start on our websites, especially when we're DIYing it. And if you're not a designer or developer, then these should really, really help you out. All right, so this is the very first one in websites, a webinar. So let me know. So we're just testing out, making sure that Facebook Live is a good place for us to host it. Yeah, so let me know. I am checking my phone as well to make sure that if there's any comments coming through, I have my phone out so I can see them. Since I am sharing on the desktop, it's kind of hard for me to see. So yeah, let me know if you have any specific questions and I'll just get started with the presentation, and feel free. This is like a wine and websites. I've got my wine. It's casual, chill. Hopefully you're in your pajamas and nice and cozy and warm. And if you're in Columbus, hopefully you're dry. All right, so let's get started. So a few DIY strategies for a drool-worthy website. First of all, my name is Yasmin. You can't really see my face. Apparently Facebook screen sharing it won't let you toggle back and forth. So I thought I'd insert a few pictures of myself in the office, one of my favorite mugs, my family. So I actually have been designing websites for about almost 8 years now, I believe. I mean, if you count school and stuff, maybe even more than that. But officially 8 years for businesses, from small businesses to e-commerce, large retail businesses. And I've loved every second of it. Really, my passion though is working on those websites with business owners from the very beginning of their business or 1 year of their business, and seeing them flourish throughout the years, and seeing how their website evolves and helping their website evolve while their business does as well. A few extra tips about me. I like to go Latin dancing. I like tacos, margaritas. Yeah, so you can ask me if you're in Columbus where I go, and then if you have any suggestions for Latin dancing, tacos, or margaritas, let me know. So it's just a little bit about me. Again, this is pretty casual. Just I am watching the chats. So if you have any questions, I hopefully will be able to see them. Okay. So what we're going to go over is how to know your site visitor, and knowing your site visitor is extremely important in order for you to tailor your content, your images, and the basic layout of the page. What your must-have pages are. So if you're doing your own site, what are the pages that you must launch with? The basics of a page, what your page actually needs to have in order to really, really make those leads into clients. What about mobile friendliness? I'll give you a few tips about that. Testing the site. So a few high-level testing of the site. We're not going to go in depth into development, but just what a few things are that I use to test sites. And then Q&A. And if we have time, this is about an hour long, give or take. So if we have time after the Q&A, I'll look over somebody's website. I know a couple people submitted their sites for me to review. So strategy tip number one, know your site visitor. And this is a who, what, where, when, why, how, knowing the demographics and psychographics. And you might already know some of this depending on how far along you are in your business. But when I work with clients, I like to know, especially if they're in the beginning stages of business, I like to know who they are targeting. So for example, are they targeting women? Are they targeting what age bracket? And usually it's a 5-year range. Keep it at that. Don't, a person who's 25 years old is not going to be, a website is not going to be as appealing to them as a maybe somebody versus somebody who is 35. The design aesthetics change. And they change a lot more depending on how wide that age gap is. So when I have asked clients before, and this is true story, I've asked clients, what is the age range of your, who, tell me about your target market. And they say, anybody from age 1 to age 65, men or women are going to buy this soap. And no, they will not. So your soap, your brand, it could be going, you could price it a little differently depending on who you're targeting. If it's for kids, you're not actually targeting the kids, you're targeting their parents. If it is, elderly people might have different skin issues than somebody who is 18 years old. So really knowing your demographics and psychographics. Demographics, if in case you don't know, are the facts. So this is the income that they make, the location that they live in, the type of house that they have, the size of their family, and all of those things. Psychographics are what is really, really cool. And the reason you want to go into psychographics for a website is that you want to know exactly where they're hanging out, where they're shopping, and what e-commerce sites really, or e-commerce or any sort of sites really appeal to them. So for example, are you trying to appeal to a woman who really loves Henry Bendel, or are you looking for somebody who is more of a Kate Spade? Those are both oriented towards women. They're about the same age bracket, but they have very different styling, and their target, the people, the women that are being targeted have different feels. So one is maybe more of a jet setter. The other one is more sort of fashionista, because Kate Spade, they sell like bumblebee handbags, those types of almost cutesy type of items, versus Henry Bendel. So you really want to get to know your psychographics. So if you're targeting the same person that Henry Bendel is, then what are they doing on their site to try and appeal to that person? Even if you're selling fitness to them, if they aspire to buy from a certain brand, look at what that brand is doing, and then try to see what bits and pieces you can emulate on your site, whether that is in the details of the colors, or maybe the way the copy, the text flows for them. Just keep that in mind. I'm trying to get my comments. Let's see. See the comment. I know a comment came in. Okay, cool. Oh, hey, Simone. Okay, now I figured out how to do the comments. So thank you for bearing with me on the tech stuff. Okay, so Lauren, I've known about psychographics, but I've been struggling how to figure out my psychographics. Any tips? Okay, Lauren. So hi, Malika. So could you, in the comments, could you, do you want this live shared? Yeah, you can share. If it'll share outside the group, yeah, go ahead and share it. I'm not sure what the settings are. Again, this is the very first time I'm doing this, so let me know if it works or not. So Lauren, could you give me a little bit more detail about what you mean on tips for psychographics? If you're trying to actually do some focus groups, that's great. Let's say you're in the beginning stages of your business, you haven't really launched yet, and you want to know if the idea will actually work with people. Let's take mindset coaching, for example. So you want to be a mindset coach, you've taken the training, you just want to see if this business will actually pan out. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick at least 5 people, at the very least 5 people. Ideally, for me as a website designer, if you can bring me back information from 50 people, that's better than 5 people. But if you're a little overwhelmed, like I sometimes get at least 5 people who are in the ideal client the ideal client demographic. So they are making the money that you want your ideal client to make. They are buying the types of things that your ideal client will buy. So if it's a woman who, let's say she is in a managerial position, in a corporate setting, then look for that person, see if they can offer them a cup of coffee and interview them and tell them about your business idea, give them a bit of information, and then ask them what they would think of the business, how they would like to be approached, what sort of websites they hang out around. So what apps they hang out in, and then what websites they purchase from. Are they somebody who will purchase from Walmart or Target? For example, I will go to lengths to shop at Target versus Walmart. And somebody else, like my husband, he will just go shop anywhere, typically Walmart. So ask them where they will shop, and then just buy them a cup of coffee. If you're selling a product, a great way to do it is, let's say you are creating candles and you want to see where your top next 3 scents will come from. You've created these different scents and you want to see which one will sell better. You want to hone in on the top 2, whatever it is. Let's say you've got a couple of them. Go and ask someone, like maybe at an event. So I host wine and websites, and usually we have sponsors. And so if you would like to sponsor, then you could say, hey, I will sponsor the wine for the next event if you allow me to bring in my candles, talk about my business, and have people fill out a survey after they smell the candles and they look at the presentation. And so your survey would have, what do you think of the presentation? How important is this, the strength of the scent? How important is the packaging? What do you think? Any comments? What would you pay for this product? So that type of focus group is something that you can start adding into your repertoire of psychographics. How does this help your website? When I get that information from a client, I can then say, help you research the types of sites and the features that your site will have. So for example, if you come back to me and tell me that your ideal client is really, really techie, then possibly adding a chat feature to your site will support you. If they are not, let's say they are not very tech savvy, maybe they're elderly, retired, something like that, then your website will take a different form. I hope that helps. Okay, yeah, any more comments or questions, please feel free to put them down there. This is totally casual. Hopefully you guys have your glass of wine with you. All right, so you've done your psychographics and your demographics. You know a little bit about your client. You know how much money they make, what they're looking for, what their big problems are, what solutions they've already tried, and how you're going to stand out when they find you. But now you need to figure out where your site fits into your sales funnel. How will your site help convert leads to customers? Let's say you have gone to a networking event, you gave 100 people your business cards. From there, when they go onto your site, what are the steps that they need to take in order to get to the outcome that you want? Do you want them to book a strategy session? Do you want them to buy your ebook? What is the ultimate goal? And then what are the steps that you want them to take in order to get there? So let's say you want them to book for a strategy session, then your main call to action will not be something like check out my services. It'll be instead the button will lead them to a strategy session or to a form that they can fill out and get on a call with you. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to put them in the comments. How this part helps is it helps me figure out the user flow or the user experience. I can say, okay, what pages are the must-haves? What pages can, in order to not clutter the navigation, what pages can go into drop-downs and so on. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. So strategy tip number 2, what are the must-have pages? If you're DIYing your own site or trying to figure out what pages you should work on first before going to a designer, anything like that, the the number one page is your home page. Deciding on whether your home page will be mostly a blog, so if you are pushing a blog, but if you're pushing your services more so and your blog is just secondary, then your home page will need to have things like a short bio about you, a little bit about your services. So if we look at the image here, this is the home page for a matchmaker that a website I created a while back. And her homepage has a little bit about her services, matchmaking services, dating, profile polish. It has a little bit about where she's been featured. It had quotes in there, testimonials. It had a call to action to the about her page, and the whole idea was that her brand was very, very much. She was the face of the brand. She was the person you were going to talk to, the person that was going to get you that person in your life, the person that was going to help you get really polished and start dating again. And so Meet Ashley was the main call to action. She is also the person who's being featured everywhere. And that's really big because it helps her look more like a professional, not a professional, but like the expert in the field, because she has been featured everywhere and she has testimonials. So the about page is pretty much a summary of everything, and it makes you look good. So if you only had a couple seconds to walk into a room and leave an impression on somebody, that's the homepage. You want them to get a little taste of everything in order for them to want to click on something and learn more. The second most important page is the about page. Typically, this is hard for people because at least when writing content and choosing images that will really reflect them, because they feel like it's too much about them or they feel like it's not enough about them. The main thing to keep in mind is that you're talking about yourself, but you're trying to make yourself seem, or that expertise that you have, you're trying to bring that out and show the people that you have that expertise and that you are awesome, because not just because you say it, but because there's testimonials in there. And this is a great page for you to shine in terms of personality. So no matter what else is on your site, your about page could have behind the scenes images. It could have maybe some copy that talks about what you do when you're not working. Anything like that will help you shine on the about page. Anything that talks about your passion, your why, any struggles that you've gone through that make you an expert in this field, anything like that, that's perfect for the about page. The third page you should have is a service page. So I go to your homepage, I go to your about page, and now what? What service do you offer? What can I get from you? Services page. You can have just a general services page to start with and just list out your services. And then moving on from there, you can pick your bread and butter services, the services that will get you the most money. And so let's say you are a career coach. You might offer some resume strategy sessions, let's say. So you look over somebody's resume and just give them a few tips. But that's not what's making you the money. What's making you the money is this other giant package. So the giant package gets its own page, its own sales page. The general services page will just list everything out and include those smaller a la carte items that might be appealing for somebody, but at the same time, it's not your go-to package. And then a contact page. I don't know why I'm still seeing sites without a contact page, but you really need to have one. If you're an e-commerce site, you still need to have one, even if it's in the footer of the site. That's usually for e-commerce where they are at, because you want to make sure the navigation is honing in on your products, the products that you're shipping out and selling. So the contact page is a must-have. What you need on there, you don't just need your email, you need a contact form for people to get a hold of you. If that form for some reason breaks and you do not have any backup, so that's why usually I put the email address next to the form. In case for some reason a plugin breaks or something, they can at least see your email address, copy and paste it into their email provider. And that's a great place to have another testimonial, some social media links, perhaps a link to your calendar if you want people to book a session with you. So contact page is a must-have. Please have a contact page. If you only have a home page and a contact page, that you're doing a lot better than some other sites that I've seen. Other pages that you can think about are privacy policy, terms and conditions, frequently asked questions, specific services page, again, that goes up if you have a very bread and butter type of service, and a blog. The frequently asked questions page is great for just creating content. I recommend it to a lot of my clients because, one, it's a great link to send people if they have a lot of questions. Two, it's really great for SEO. So if you type out the questions similar to what the way somebody would ask it. So I know, Simone, you do some, I need that schedule. Yeah, it's good. Simone, oh, yeah, you do. You need a scheduling booking feature, especially if it's synced to your calendar. It's really, really great to have. But an FAQ page, like if Simone, if you had, let's say, you've had a lot of questions about nutrition or like how you can help with nutrition, you can write out a couple of questions as if you were your client. So you could say, how does your nutrition program work? And then you would write down the answer in a paragraph. And then the next nutrition question, or how does your at-home, how often do you recommend people to use your at-home services? And then you would write that down, just so that it sounds like I am as a client, as a potential client, I'm the one asking you the question, and then you're giving the answer, if that makes any sense. But FAQ pages, they're really easy pages to create. You don't need fancy pictures. You don't need not even a lot of design, as long as the fonts are, there's headlines and subheadlines, and as long as everything is nice and clean, you don't really need any more design than that. And you can just type out the questions and answers. Privacy policies, I recommend you have these. You can get a generic one, but this is in case you collect emails or in case you give advice, terms and conditions, stuff like that. In case you give advice to people, you just want to cover yourself in the fitness world, nutrition, just about anything that people might take your advice and run with it somehow, just to remind them, hey, this is advice only. If you do this and it kind of messes up on you, it's not my fault. I see this a lot with more health places, dentistry, stuff like that. Blog just creates great content. So yeah, shipping policies, if you have an e-commerce, shipping policies is a great page to have. Yeah, so ask me any questions about any of these pages if you have any. So this is what I create in order to get an idea of what I need to make for a client, what is going to go into their site. This was for a dance studio here in Columbus. So the main navigation, top of pages, that is the very top of the site. What pages are going to be there? At the end of this process, we ended up getting rid of Get Started because it was just too cluttered. So we ended up getting rid of Get Started and Wedding Dance, and just cleaned it up a lot more. And I think I believe we added a page for just general services. But we called it something else. So we have home, we had services, we had a scheduling, we changed calendar to schedule. We have an about page, blog, and contact. On the bottom, that we still had the same contact page, FAQ. We did not go through with the fitness because we do not have, they still don't have any fitness instruction yet at the dance studio, but we did put in a privacy policy. This is a great place to start. This is just how I organize what is going to go in the top navigation, what's going to go in the footer. Okay, Lauren. So what are your thoughts about pages with coming soon or something in that nature? I am getting a certification right now and won't be offering services until April. Should I make the page or just wait? No, definitely make the page. Do not wait. Create a landing page. So for example, with Simone, so Simone's site is going to be, I'm going to show you right now, is going to be a lot larger. It's going to be expanded. So there's going to be a lot more pages and stuff, but this is what a landing page that I created for Simone looks like. It has the logo, it has an in-page navigation. So when you click on it, it just scrolls down. Um, I do that because the page might get long and people might just want to read about her or join the team or contact her. So it's a bit easier for people instead of them having to scroll all the way down. Hey, Terry, thanks for joining. Okay, so then this landing page, so we have her logo, we have this mini navigation, in-page navigation, we have a testimonial. If you don't have a testimonial, I like to put in a favorite quote, your mission statement, just something that will give it a little bit of pizzazz and then kind of break that space up. Then give a little bit about you. So Lauren, if you are getting your certification, talk about that. Talk about why you're passionate about what you're doing, what you're learning, and why you are working so hard to get that, that certification and how your journey started. You can definitely do that. And then what your goals are after you get your certification. If you have any call to action, I would say at least your social media, and start your social media now so you can get some traction on whatever it is that you are getting your certification on. If not, I would say start with an email list. And even if you're not sending out any emails yet, at least have the option to sign up for your newsletter, because people will come in here and you'll at least get somebody that will start signing up for the newsletter. Depending on sort of certification you are planning on getting and how long it's going to take, I recommend that businesses start immediately when you know you want. Let's say you want to open up a bakery. You don't wait until you open up a bakery to do your social media and to gain that following and to create your website. You start before. So I recommend create a landing page, create your social media pages, and then just start getting a following. Start sharing behind the scenes. If you are studying for your certification, I'm not really sure what your certification is on, but let's say it is on, let's say it's nutrition, then kind of, put up a post on what you learned, do an Instagram story about what you've learned, give a little snippet about why you're passionate about what you do, if there's internships or anything that you're doing. Just kind of give a little behind the scenes about that and start creating that following with that landing page. And when you're ready to launch, you launch and you already have possibly clients waiting for you, or at least people cheering you on. So definitely I suggest having a landing page. If you are redoing your site, I suggest as soon as you have your new branding, your new logo, create that landing page, and in order to start getting the people who are coming to your site used to the new branding. Okay, so then when you're figuring out what pages you need and what's going to go on your navigation, divide it up into main navigation. That means what's on the top of every page. The footer navigation, what's in the bottom of every page, and then a very short snippet about what will go on each page. So for this site, the landing page, copy speaking about staying in the know about when they are open. The homepage, what sort of content we're going to have, and this is just to keep us on track, in order so that when we go back and we say, hey, what was supposed to go on the wedding dance page? We already have that here. What was supposed to go on? What was the getting started page about? What was it supposed to have on there? Well, it was supposed to have a summary of private, group, and wedding lessons. This will really, really help keep you on track when you're creating those pages. And then put them in a list of, like I did here, in terms of which one you'll create first. So we needed to create the landing page first. After that was done, we went on to the home page, the get started page, and so on. So this is just in order of how we will tackle each page. Okay, so strategy tip number 3, basics of a page. This is what you should have on each page, pretty much all pages, have a call to action. So on Ashley's site, we put her main call to action was for them to get to know her, especially I believe she was trying to get speaking engagements and get featured. So it was very important to her to push her bio. So meet Ashley, and then below that, secondary was her services. So matchmaking services, dating, and profile polish. So those are the call to actions. Headlines. So, making sure that if somebody is scanning the site, that they know what each section is about. So obviously the first section has her name in big letters and it says meet Ashley. So we know that's a headline. That's what that section is about. If you're just scrolling, take the next step, featured in, you now know what each section pertains, and it's easier on the eyes. They don't have to kind of squint in order to decipher what the difference is between the body copy and the headline is. Having great images is really key. And with Ashley, what she had only a few images, and so I don't remember, she didn't have that much more than she has on this page, but we used them strategically in order so that it wouldn't feel like each page was repetitive. But we still, for example, this top page over here, it was great because I cloned out the white background. I just faded it out so that her headline could show up. And then it was still keeping that clean, minimal style that she wanted. But you can see that it's a very similar shot to the other ones, if that makes sense. But just having great images, you really only need, if your site is really small, let's say you have a home page and about page and one services page. You really only need 3 hero images, which hero is at the top, and maybe one other image if you really need it throughout the rest of it. But really 1 hero image, and maybe the hero image from another page could be used as a smaller image on this page, if that makes any sense. Let me know if that doesn't make sense. So you don't really need that many images to start off with. Later on, you can go get headshots, you can buy stock images, and if you guys want, I can show you where I get a few of the stock images. But if you're buying stock images, you really only need about 3 or 4. You don't need to buy into those subscriptions where they give you unlimited use of stock images, because you probably won't use them all. And if you buy those giant packs of images, you might not use them all. They might not all fit your brand. So really just get 3 to 5 really good images that all look like they were taken by the same photographer on the same day. None of them are darker or lighter than the other ones, and you can use those on your site. Then pizzazz is in the details. Pizzazz is added last. If you're DIYing your site and you don't think it has pizzazz, at least have a call to action, a few headlines, and a few good images. Pizzazz is like the glitter around on her site and the border, the New York cityscape. That is what I consider pizzazz, and its details. If this is what's keeping you from launching your site, you just need to step away and just launch your site. Yes, pizzazz is great, and as a designer, I love it when a site has all those amazing details, but don't let that stop you. Don't procrastinate. Don't let that stop you from launching. All right, so strategy tip number 4, make sure that it's mobile friendly. So Michelle's site, hers is built on Squarespace, and Squarespace is a really great, if you're DIYing your site for sure, and you're not going to get any support at all, but you are very, very, let's say, you just need to get it done fast, and you are not going to do any special sort of development at all, then you can go with Squarespace. It's really great for that, and their templates are great. All you do is pick a template and you plug and play. You don't even have to recreate anything. So that's great. It also is great because it automatically shifts everything into a mobile-friendly format. The only thing you would have to watch out for is to look at your site on desktop and then on mobile. So what happened with us when we were creating her site for her, we did do some customization, but on the copies she sent us, this I believe was 2 paragraphs, and because the paragraphs were so large, it was kind of overwhelming when you would see them on your phone. So we ended up breaking up the paragraphs. We changed out some of the headlines in order to make them fit better. Again, some of these were a bit long, so this is actually cut down, I believe. Um, so make sure that long paragraphs are cut short. Make sure that images are centering where they should, and that just everything looks very cohesive on mobile. Don't ever forget to look at your site on mobile to see if it's looking the way that you want it to. Strategy tip number 5, testing your site. So very easy, check your site on all sorts of browsers. The top ones that I choose are Chrome and then Firefox, and then I check it on Safari. I don't usually check it on Explorer because it is not as widely used anymore, and I don't remember anybody who still uses it. And they also are not very good, or at least last time I checked, they were not very good at keeping up with tech. And so something that looks amazing on Chrome or Firefox and everywhere else, it'll look really, really odd on Explorer, especially if people don't update their browsers. Explorer is the worst. It is going to look, your site might look off. So just make sure you check it on every browser, and then try to check it on every browser in mobile as well. Then test with others. So this just means, again, going back, let's say you did all that focus group stuff. This means going back to people and showing them your site before you officially launch, and asking, again, giving them a survey and asking them what they think of it, if they can find what your services are, anything like that. Do not ask your friends and family, because your friends and family, your mom, everybody's going to love your site no matter who did it, how long it took, or how bad it might look. They will still love it because they are your friends and family. And or they might point out things that don't make sense because they are not your target market. So if you're not trying to sell to your mom specifically, you do not need to survey your mom. Unless she is your target market. And then bonus, dance in your living room once your site is done, because you have earned it. It's a lot of work to create a site. And I know, and I've been creating it for years, and it's still a ton of work. So let me know if you have any questions. I am here for you. I would switch back to you looking at me, but I realized when I started the live that you can't switch back and forth with sharing. When I stop sharing, it stops the whole video. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me check the comments. Let's see. Yeah, so if you have any other questions, if not, if you have websites that, anybody who's on live, if you have sites that you'd like me to look at, we looked at Simone's, but if you have a site, or whether it is your site or somebody else's site, put them in the comments and I will check them out. Let's see. Take a sip of my wine for wine websites. Hopefully all of you got some wine. And let me know how you like this sort of webinar, because I'd like to do them more often, because I feel it's easier, especially now that it's getting cold. Nobody really wants to go out or drive. So let me know how you like to do the webinars. And we're still going to have wine and websites every first Wednesday of the month at 7. No worries, Harry. Thanks for getting on, and let me know if you have any questions. While we are waiting for questions, I do have a few announcements. Okay, so wine and websites, the next in-person wine and websites is on December 5th. It is Kim Savon is going to be speaking, and she will be chatting more about getting your business up and running, what to work on for 2019. So definitely come for that. And it's the holiday version. It's going to have wine. It's just going to be a ton of fun. So come on in. You can go on Eventbrite, search for wine and websites. We also have it on meetup.com. Okay, Lauren, I have redone my website once and may do it again. Is that bad? No, websites are constantly evolving. Now, if you're redoing your site every 3 months, then yeah, there's probably something that you could be missing. And so maybe a strategy session would work for you, even if it's just a power session or something where you just, where we or with you with the designers or whoever you want to work with. Just spend some time really strategizing and looking back at why those past sites didn't work. Was it the branding? So was it that the color scheme was not working for you, or the logo, the design of it? Maybe it was the images. So when you're completely redoing your website I would say every 3 to 6 months, that's a bit much. Really, if you, for a regular business, regular service-based site, if you redo yours every 3 years, that's about the time when if you were to do a complete redo. If you're just doing a refresh, it's about every year. Let's say about the time when you were taking new headshots. That's when you would redo your site. So about every year. Yes, this is perfect. Also, this is my website. Okay, let's look at Lauren's site. Hopefully, let me know if I got the wrong one. So this is a fine landing page. Let's see. So yeah, I like this about page. I like that you have a picture that has a little bit of personality in it. I like that you have more like a quote, a definition on here. Maybe balancing it out, maybe taking this paragraph that's in quotes and making it all in full width. And let's see, vision, philosophy, values. I would say add a little bit more about your values. So one of your values is growth, perseverance. What does that mean to you in terms, what does perseverance mean to you? So compassion is one of your goals. What does that mean to you? And then throughout, you have one image on your about page. Do you have any great images on your Instagram? They have an Instagram here. You could add an Instagram feed onto your about page. That's always great. So snag some of your images, even if it's something like this. This is a great, let's see, this is a great image. If you have any cool images, put them on here. You can also on desktop, let's see. You can take a screenshot of this in a square format if you don't have it, if you don't have the actual picture. And then you could put maybe 3 squares next to each other on here towards the bottom, or let's say above vision, to kind of separate out the site. Let me show you a wireframe that I have. I don't have one I can show you. All of mine are currently with clients. Well, one thing you can keep in mind is, so you have 2 columns here. I would then break it up into 1 column, and then maybe something with 3 columns, so those 3 images, and then maybe again 1 column. And so that breaks up the monotony of a page. Then at the very bottom, I have nothing to do. So give me a call to action. What do you want me to do? Do you want me, you have your social media. I can follow you on social media, but at least have maybe a link to your contact page so that I can fill out the form. Your social media would be your social media here. Okay, great. So give me something to do after I've scrolled, I've read all about you, and now give me, contact her here. Let's see, home events. Let's look at your events. So you have an old event up. I would maybe push that down. If that's the only event that you've had, why don't you give a recap of the event, more pictures, um, more behind the scenes shots, and then maybe towards the top of here, you can have a call to action that says, if you would like me to speak, or if you would like to feature me, or if you would like to, even the contact page, if you would like to learn more about our events, click here and send them to your contact, or send them to your, wherever it is that you really post a lot about your events, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. Connect them to that area, because right now all I see is a previous event from this year, for the summer, and then a great image. Maybe this image, this slider, I think it's a slider. Yeah, this should be moved up. This should be moved down. And then instead of telling me about this event that already occurred, why don't you tell me about what happened at it? Okay, these are great. I would just make sure that there's an image coming up, a thumbnail image or something coming up with each blog post, just to give it a little bit more of color to the page and then more interest. So you have this here. This is great. You can have this on your about page, on your events page, let's see, and on your home page. So what I would do on your home page, you have the content for it. Create a little bio section on this home page. Take a little snippet of your about page, put it on there, and then say read more, and then make it link to the about page. Then maybe a call to action about stay tuned for our upcoming events. Click here to get onto our email list. Have any questions, contact me here, and then a little button that sends them to the contact page. Maybe if you start blogging, excuse me, if you start blogging a little bit more, once you do, you can actually, on your home page, maybe add the top latest 3 blog posts, and have those on your home page to kind of entice them into reading more. So other than that, it's not bad. It's just a very simple site, but you can do more a little. If you could do more, the top thing that you could do is make sure that your homepage is working for you, because that's where people will land. So give them a little bit about you, give them a few call to actions, maybe contact me, read more about me. This is a little bit about our previous event. Here's a little snippet of what's on our blog, and sign up for a newsletter, something like that on your homepage. On the about page, I would just kind of maybe play around with the arrangement of things, alternating from 2 columns to 1 column to another 2 column, adding a few more images, whether that is actually connecting your Instagram to your site, or just taking a screenshot of or taking the images that you have on your Instagram and then putting them on here manually. That will help it. I don't know how to add images for the blog Squarespace. Okay, yes, this happened to, I don't have my own Squarespace site. I have a client site and I can't really show you, but this has happened to a couple of clients. When you're creating your blog post in that little pop-up window for Squarespace, you are going to tab over to, I believe I forget what the title is, but you tab over to another section. I believe it's like the second or third tab in that little pop-up window. Excuse me. And there's a section called thumbnail, and that's where you're going to place the image. And that is the image that populates in a summary. It's not going to populate in the blog post, but it's going to populate in the summary. So it'll populate maybe off to the side or above this, or maybe below it, depending on the theme that you chose. And if you wanted to do it within the actual blog post, it's the same way you did it here. So I'm assuming that here you got that little weird sideways teardrop from Squarespace, and you clicked on it and added an image. That's the same way, except it's within that blog pop-up window where you're typing up your blog post. That's where it'll appear when you hover, and you can add an image within the post as well. Okay, Tanya, hi, good evening, everyone. I didn't know I was added, so here I am now. Hi, Tanya. Don't worry, we are going to post the recording. Barring any technical issues, we are going to post the recording of this within the group. So yeah, stay tuned for that. So let's see. We did get 2 people from outside. I don't believe that they're here right now, but they did submit their sites for a quick review. So this one, Select Franchise Consulting. I would say this is being pushed down, so that just means that it gets to be shortened. The FAQs, you don't really need them up there. They can be put down on the bottom of the footer of the site. Franchise news, franchise categories. I'm not really sure what franchise categories is, but judging from the name of the business, like Franchise Consulting, everything is about franchises. So you could reduce this down to categories and then news. This could be reduced down to contact. That way, this section here doesn't feel as cluttered. I like that you have your phone number at the top. Let's see. And I mean, it's pretty lightweight. Watch your sidebars. I don't recommend sidebars on most sites unless it's on the homepage, on the blog post. So, yeah, on the blog page or blog post, because it really interferes with your call to action. People can get very, very confused or just distracted on what they're supposed to do. So for example, if your call to action here is so for somebody to hook up to your email list, and then they go over here and click on something else, then they're going to get distracted, or their kid is going to distract them, and they're going to leave, and they're not going to come back to hop onto your email list or to schedule that strategy session. So keep everything as minimal as possible without cluttering up the call to action sections. I'm just going to click on the About Us since we were talking so much about this page. This isn't bad, just the same thing with the sidebar. You have an image. You have a little testimonial, looks like. You have a questionnaire, so it's kind of like a call to action. I would make this a little like a button or something bigger. I would watch that sidebar because what it's doing, it's just adding negative space to the page and it's not balancing it out. Amazon Pixies is great, but balance this section out with something else. All right, let's look at this other one. This is interesting. Let's look at this. Okay, this is nice. But give me something. What am I going to get out of joining your newsletter? So I don't know what I'm going to get out of it. I'm not going to join. Tell me if I'm going to get tips. Am I going to get constant emails? Am I going to get once weekly emails? What value am I getting for joining your email list? Branding, design, and identity. It's nice. A little bit of parallax. Okay, this is good. I would add some more spacing, but that might be more of a designer choice, or at least balance out the spacing here and the spacing up there. But that's just being nitpicky. The site's pretty good. Well, you build websites, so I like that little feature. I like that, how the images move. Can we click it to them? Okay, Lightbox. I like it when sometimes I've seen other designers, they have a Lightbox, but I don't know if this is supposed to be text on the side. If you have anything like this, or a gallery, or you're a photographer, this is great for showing off the image, but give me a little bit about what you solved. So for example, this is a business card for a brand. What problem did you solve in order to get to this final piece? Let's see, sign up, print email list. Let's chat, blogs. This is what I meant by just having a few of the most recent blog posts on your homepage, and then contact. I mean, it's a pretty great site. It's just, I can go really, it's a DIY webinar, but I mean, I could go really nitpicky. If you are watching the recording of this, let me know, and then we can chat about going in deeper, but it looks pretty good. Let's see, got a comment. Okay, Tanya, my site needs help terribly due to unfortunate issues. I can't pay for anyone to upgrade it yet. I want to learn Wix. Okay, yeah, no, I totally get it. Sometimes we run into financial issues and stuff like that that we can't, we don't foresee. So Wix is good. It's a great place to start. It is drag and drop. I personally prefer Squarespace more than Wix. Every time, at least I know what I'm getting with Squarespace. With Wix, it feels like every time a client has used them, in order for them to go further into their business, they have to upgrade and pay more. But they are really upping their game with the functionalities that they're adding for their sites. So that's great, and it is really a really great place to start when you are looking for a more budget-friendly website to get up and running as quick as possible. That's really great. I believe they also have templates that you can just pick and then replace with your content. So that's awesome. I don't remember if Wix has a free site that you can play around, like a free backend that you can play around with. It's either Wix or Weebly, I think, that has that. And then Squarespace has a 2-week, like 14-day trial offer that you can play around with. But if Wix is your game, if that's your jam, go for it. You can make a great site with Wix. Sometimes when DIYing your site, just be very careful that if you do pick a theme from them or template, make sure that you stick to it, because it is very difficult to start editing it, and then your site starts looking more and more like DIY style. So you want to make sure that it's looking very clean and professional. Keep in mind that less is more. Even if it looks plain to you, as long as it looks clean and well balanced and gives the right information to the user and is not very confusing, that's just the way to go. So let me know if that helps. Let's see how much time we have. 1 minute left, so I wanted to make sure to keep this around an hour. 1 minute left. Let's see, where is my... So for everybody that's hopping on today, I do give free strategy sessions, so you can go to my Calendly link and hop on. This is no sales. It's just I look at your site, like we kind of did a little bit of that today. I look at your site, or if you have not started your site and are thinking about starting one and just kind of want to know what the platforms are that are out there for you, what things you should watch out for, definitely hop on the calendar and snag a session. If you do not see something that fits your time frame, your timing, let me know and I will try to fit you in somewhere. If let's see, if you have questions but you don't want to hop on the calendar, this group is here for you. I am checking it constantly, so make sure to put your question in there. If you just take a screenshot of the issue that you're having and I can try and help you out, that's awesome as well. So yeah, let me hook up on Calendly and I hope to chat with everyone soon. I'm gonna wait a few minutes, make sure nobody else has any questions. And I hope everybody had a good glass of wine for their Monday evening. I had to double check to see if it was Monday on the corner of my screen because sometimes I think it's Monday and it's like Tuesday or Wednesday. So it doesn't look like there are any more questions coming in. But again, if I missed your question or just send me a private message or put it in the group, hop on the calendar. That's calendly.com/Robles Designs. If you are in Columbus, I hope that I'll see you at Haven Collective, and we're going to be hosting that It's that free wine and websites. We're going to be talking about Business 101, and we're not going to have one in January, but when we kick off in February, Beth is going, another friend of mine who is a pro at video, will be teaching you video strategy, DIY video strategies that will really up the ante on your website, because videos are really great for websites, and she's going to show you how to DIY it and make videos that are amazing. Terry, this was really great information. Thank you. You are very welcome, Terry. And I will see everybody. Yeah, I'll see everybody hopefully soon in person, if not virtually. All right. Bye-bye.